Scout offers a playstyle that can be extremely rewarding when played at its best, but when you're a little bit new and you can't really execute Scout properly, you will be punished for it. So to help you guys out, I thought that it would be best to create a video explaining how to play Scout. Now before starting the video and giving information, I will say that this video contains opinions, but I am an 800-hour scout with 2,000 hours in the game, and I have comp Highlander experience, so I think I can give you a pretty good input on the class. And since this is my first video ever, if you have any constructive criticism or advice, I would greatly appreciate it, so leave a comment if you can.
Chicken!
So a great place to start is learning Scout's strengths. He's a good class for killing certain single targets. This includes one-on-one fights, killing important classes like medic and running out, and anything that falls under that category. He also plays off other power classes' damage really well. Scout gets to pick his fights, and you also have great mobility, allowing you to make flank plays, get quick kills, run out, and dodge around projectile classes to make it harder for them to kill you. Understanding Scout also includes having a good idea of his downsides. You're weak and squishy. This means that if you're not abusing your mobility, you're gonna get hit and die. You can't do much by yourself against the enemy team. And building off of that so you don't misunderstand it, you can't solo push onto more than 2 people because you are not a power class. You are an opportunity-based class, aka a pick class. You need your team to do damage that you can build off of.
Yo, what's up?
You can do a lot with Scout's mobility. You may be wondering, hey, how do I use Scout's mobility to its fullest? Great question. So, we can see how your mobility pairs with your weapons by shifting our attention to Scout's stock primary, the Scattergun, a weapon that heavily rewards close range play, doing up to 105 damage point blank. With your average class being able to do this damage may be a struggle, because they probably won't just play close to you knowing that's your effective range, but you're a scout and you're fast, so you can force the fight by getting close and playing at your effective range. This is why picking fights is probably Scout's greatest upside, because it's useful for forcing fights at your effective range, and when you pick a fight, it's almost always going to be in your favor, because it's one that you're guaranteed to always play at your effective range when forcing that fight. And that's exactly why Scout is the best 1v1 class in the game. Something I don't see a lot of people mention is Scout's most effective game modes, and his most effective ones are without a doubt Koth and CP, and this is for a number of reasons. One being Scout's 2x capture rate, which a lot of Scouts don't use nearly as much as they should. For example, if you just won the midfight in CP, you can capture points at a 2x rate while you give the rest of the team time to push up. Another reason why Scout is strong in these game modes is how good he is in mid-fights, because he can play passive in the mid-fight and still do damage because the enemy team is playing for the point. And while you're playing passive, you're of course abusing your mobility to dodge and whatnot. And what I believe is the main reason why Scout excels in these game modes is that unlike game modes like Payload, Attack Defense, and Capture the Flag, is because Koth and CP, you most likely will not have time to build a defense with how fast-paced the games are. And Scout's main weakness is a good defense. Now, how do we play maps like Payload, Attack Defense, and CTF? I would say play based off opportunity. If you're trying to attack, which means don't push when you don't have an opportunity to do so, because in these game modes, pushing through a defense is hard, and it's certainly something that you can't do without a lot of help from your team. And for playing defensively, if you can get an important flank on the enemy offense, or once your team is shredded through the offense, and they haven't retreated, and they are mostly dead, you can go for a push and profit off of their failed offensive attempt. But just make sure there isn't a sentry still holding the position if you do so. With Scout's primaries, you only really have 2 good options, and that is either the stock or the soda popper. Stock is good because it's consistent. You have 6 bullets in one clip, plain and simple, it's probably Scout's best primary. And if you're learning how to play Scout, I recommend you use this. Now, the soda popper. It's good because you can do extremely quick damage instantly, it's better than the force of nature, because unlike the force of nature, you don't swing your enemy a mile away from you when you shoot your first shot, letting you do 2 extremely high damage meat shots quickly, instead of doing 1 meat shot with the force of nature, and the second shot barely doing anything because you launched your target a mile away. As for secondaries, I honestly think everything is good besides the 2 drinkable items, but I would recommend using any of the pistols and learning how to use them because all the pistols are consistently good. Now, Scout's Melee. And I know this is going to piss a lot of people off, but the Boston Basher is not a good weapon in my opinion. Here's why. Yes, I know it can be used to gain Uber Charge with its bleed on hit mechanic, but this is rarely done because you often have to communicate to your medic in order to grind Uber, and they don't even respond to you most of the time. And the medic can probably do something more useful, which is healing other classes besides you. Now, melees that are good. The Rap Assassin and the Atomizer are very good weapons. The Rap Assassin, you can do bleed from a long range, and it can also be used to finish off weak targets, as well as abusing its bleed to make snipers miss shots. The Atomizer is good because it increases the amount of times you can do jumps with it, allowing you to find new jumps around the map as you play the game, and it can allow you to maneuver the map better than you normally would, and there's just a lot of potential with the weapon.
Everybody say it